very good afternoon to you. How are we doing this afternoon? I hope you're very well and enjoying the shows, of course, here at the craft store. This is my first show of the day, but not the first show of the day for Scarlet Rose. In fact, Julie was here this morning. Busy show earlier on as well. Good afternoon, Julie.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Wonderful. You've got lots of demonstrations and goodies to show us, haven't you?
So much to show you again.
Amazing, amazing. We will be back with Julie as soon as possible. We are going to get there as quickly as possible. Let's have a look what we've got on offer, of course. We've got two different options for you here. In fact, there's two different item numbers, so do bear this in mind. Let's have a look at the first one. Here we have our fancy bows, the blossoms and the octagon as well. I do have a board, so I can show you these cut out as well. We've got some gorgeous samples here in the studio as well. Absolutely beautiful. We do say the phrase a lot, Julie, a lot of metal for your money, and it really, really is the case here, isn't it, when we look at your dies?
Well, we try to give you as much as we can for the best price that we can, and we think we've done it.
Amazing. You can see what you can create here as well. I mean, you've got nice flowers there that are going to layer up. You can create different flowers. You've got the leaves in there. The octagon is beautiful because you've got the plain edge, you've got the scalloped edge there as well. And of course, you've got those different options with the bow as well.
You have, yes. The plain edge one is slightly smaller than your scallop so that you can double layer it. So perhaps do a pink and a white bow, which I shall show you later. And as we said, the flowers and the leaves are more what we call a simple shapes because you can emboss them, cut into them. Well, I'll show you all that when we get to it, but that's what we've got.
Sometimes those simple shapes work the best though, don't they? Well, look at the details. We've got a flexi on this one for you as well. 2 payments of £23.50, so you can easily spread the cost. In fact, if you're going for anything else, you can split the cost there as well. There are 12 dies there, and some of these dies are huge, aren't they? There's no small dies in there at all. No. 789496 is the item number, and we are looking at some of the samples that have been created, of course, with everything we've got on the show here today as well. We'll see more of those a little bit later. In fact, we've got another option for you. This is a different item number. Let's have a look at our butterfly. Again, I've got the board so you can see how these will cut out. Absolutely gorgeous once again. Look at the detail in here. Lovely for using, you know, with your inks if you want to ink through there as well, Julie.
They'd make a good stencil, wouldn't they? Yes,
yeah,
you could do, especially the trellis one. That would work really well. But these are actually the layer over the top of your first set.
Okay.
So you can use them separately, of course, if you didn't want to have that, like the plain bow, and you didn't want to put a different colour underneath. They will work on their own, away from the first set, but obviously together, the combinations of fancy and plain that you can layer up.
That's why it's nice to have that flexi, because you could go for both sets. Remember, you need 2 different item numbers. Just want to point out with the butterfly as well, because you do get the solid, you also get the fancy or the filigree butterfly there, and if you put the 2 dies together, you get the frame, don't you, Julie?
You do. So that isn't a separate die, that's achieved from using the other 2.
The ones that you've got. Exactly. Love it. £46.99, but again, that flexi available for you, 2 payments of £23.50. I can tell you that this was particularly busy on the earlier show. Almost at half of the stock gone. This is the second and final hour today for Scarlet Rose, of course. 081471 is the item number. You can see, can't you, lots of different ways of working with those dies there as well. Just to let you know, everything that we've got on the show today is dispatched from the 30th of April, so not long to wait. It's just Friday, isn't it? Next Friday. Right, let's see what we've got up next, because of course if you're making your beautiful cards, if you're making those projects, you want to present them beautifully as well. So we've got the box and tags for you. Now this kit will make 10 boxes. You do get the tags included as well. What I love about these, you've got the finger lift, haven't you, in these? So when your lid's on, Julie, you're not struggling to get your fingers underneath. You can take the lid off easily. And we've taken the 2mm off the base already, so there's no cutting. It's already done. All you've got to do is score round on all 4 sides at 3 centimetres. I mean, obviously you can adjust that, do 1 centimetre and make a bigger box for your other projects. But for this particular project, as you can see there, with the bow that's inside, I mean, look how deep that bow is. That is gorgeous. At 3 centimetres, and the lid still goes on. So it's all done for you, basically. Finger lifts, all the bits taken off for you, and the tags. It really is. And the tags, I mean, use them with the box by all means, but of course you could use those in your albums and your journals as well. We will be talking about journals a little bit later. So you've got options there. £12.99 if you want to go for the bundle, 660076. Then moving down again, we have the sticky sheets for you. Right, now then, I've got a board down here as well that just stuck to my foot, actually, which was rather strange. The sticky sheets. Obviously, these are a great help, Julie, aren't they? Because you can use these with your dies, you can use these for attaching your foiling, your gilding flakes. Well, yes, because it's adhesive that's actually attached to card. So one side is card, and when you peel a carrier sheet off, that's sticky adhesive. So
all your little pots of glitter that you've got don't know what to do with, just throw it onto a piece of card. And if you flip that one round, Catherine, that you've got in your hand there, no, the one at the back.
This one.
There we go. Can you see? On its own, a bit funky, but then die cut it out.
Exactly.
And you can see how filigree that die is.
It
die cuts, it punches beautifully. Obviously, you can cut with scissors, you can put glitters and your foil flakes.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make a whole A4 sheet with your foil flakes. Now, liquids are great, and but you usually only use a small amount. You'd have to use a whole bottle for a whole sheet, whereas now you can just rip that carrier sheet off, put your flakes across, and then you can make cards, you can die, cut, and you can punch.
Amazing. Only $15.99. You're getting 7 A4 sheets there. 623819 is the item number. Now, we've also got some sentiments for you as well. You may already have the dies that will work with these beautifully as well. But these are die cut. They're kiss cut, aren't they, Julie? So you can use these individually. You can use them in conjunction with your dies. Lots of different colours. Great size for so many different projects again here as well. Just going to show you 1 or 2 samples. You might recognise some of these dies from previous shows. And as I say, you may already have these as well. But if you haven't, you can still go for the sentiments. $14.99, a £5 saving. You are getting 10 sheets there. And you can see you've got those different shades there. The lilac, the green, the blue and pink, all included. 903062. Then moving on again, I've got a bag stuck to my foot. Oh, I've pulled it off. Oh, I don't know what's going on. Right, let's have a look at the next item. I'm wondering what I'm going to be dragging down the counter next.
It's like the Andrex puppy.
We've got the classic card pack. This is your vintage sheet classic card pack. This is absolutely beautiful. I've seen this many times, and every time I say it, I just love it more and more and more. Always busy on this one. These are landscape orientation, so you can use these, as you can see, in landscape orientation, but they're double-sided, so you can cut into these, you can score down the centre, you can use these however you wish. These would create the most beautiful card blanks if you wanted a decorative side on each side, but of course you can cut these up and use them in so many different ways. I mean, Julie, I do love these, simply because you've got some beautiful colours in here. Vintage is my thing as well. Yep. But you've got, you know, the shades of blue, the pink, but you've got the brightness there on this particular page as well.
Well, they were designed to go with, sorry to interrupt, they were designed to go with our pearly pages, which is obviously landscape, so that you could put the pages all out in one. But of course, without that, as you just said, you can gatefold or just a normal A4 folded, and you've got an immediate card done without having to do anything else to it. Now, that's just mentioning those pearly pages. If anybody watched last month and the month before, we brought our journaling cards out. So with these are the pages all stuck together with all your little pockets. Now, that's that pad. We're going to be doing something similar again when you come over to me, but that was with pearly pages.
Very nice indeed. If you haven't got yours yet, grab it today. We've often had sellouts on this product before. £24.99, a £5 saving today, 226723. Right, over on the website, you will see absolutely everything, of course. There you'll find all of those dies. If you're missing something, maybe you've collected some of the dies previously from Scarlet Rose and you want to fill the gaps, you can do that as well. We've got 5-star reviews there. The quality of these dies is exceptional. If you've bought them already and you've been making journals, cards, projects, home decor, whatever, and you want to share those pictures with us, we'd love to see them as well. studio@thecraftstore.com. Right, now we always see the benefit of these dies and what we can actually achieve when we go over to Julie, because Julie, you always show us so many different ways of working with everything.
Yeah, well, we thought we'd mix it up a bit for the afternoon show because the bows are so easy to do. I mean, I can stick those together like lickety-split really quickly. So we thought we'd start with using your layers. So that's just your frames, and we create them into journals, because that seems to be becoming quite popular again now. I mean, the last 2 shows we've done in pearly pages and turned our books into journal cards just went, I mean, you were there, you were with me, went absolutely crazy. So we looked at what we'd already got and we just thought, you know what, this is a fantastic base to be able to do the same again. Definitely. So this is what Barbara's done. I'll give her all the kudos. This isn't me, this is Barbara. So if I just pop them side by side to begin with, you can see one there has already got that bow on that's in the set. Yeah. With just, that's what we call the plains, but I mean by no way is that plain, and then layered with the layer one on the top.
So that's the Blossoms kit that you've used there?
Yeah, but what I'm going to do, if you look, I've got to demonstrate them together.
Okay,
But
yeah.
it's obvious. If it's got a pattern on, it's the butterflies. If it
Okay.
hasn't got a pattern on, it's the plain.
It's the blossoms. We have got both details on the screen. If you keep an eye at the side of the screen, you can see we've got the fancy bows and blossoms there, and at the bottom of the screen, we do have the butterflies. So if you do want both, you can go for the both. You can see those item numbers. You have got Flexi on both options as well, so you can easily spread the cost. That would make it, if you're going for both sets, just the $46.99, and then $46.99 in a month's time as well. Okay, Julie.
So I'll start with the pink and the cream one, and I'll just take you through it. As you can see, there's like a half page at the front, and that's what we've put the bow on. We've got the plate, which is your fancy. I say fancy and plain, but we obviously know it is butterflies and blossoms. But
okay. We'll
say fancy, so I'll get myself all mixed up otherwise. So we've put the fancy over the top. We've got little pocket spaces there, but it's a book within a card. So let's turn that page, and we've now got, with little brad holes there, we've got another pocket here with your tabs on.
Lovely.
We've got the middle that has had one of the bows.
Now that's
just
clever.
I mean, that's only the bow, the scalloped version of that put across the middle, just as another embellishment, but we've left it open there. There's your sentiment.
But that's also strengthening those pages.
It is. It is. Well, when I show you how to do it, these are in between all the layers. Yeah. It's really clever how Barbara's done this. As I say, she's done all this. Brain of Britain, you know it now. She come up with all these designs. I just come and do the pretty stuff. She does all this. So we've left that tag open there, so we can put that back in there. Or you could stick it all down and just have one little open one there. You could leave some edges of those flourishes open and stick your tags in. That's more visible on the woodland one that I'll show you in a second or two. So let's turn it over again. We've got another pocket and little tags there, and another one on the back there. So you can see there's so much area that you can use with these dies. So if I bring it all in, and hopefully it'll make sense to you, because it really isn't hard. So get your A4, crease at about, I think it's about 3.5 inches, something like that. But you choose how big you want that to be.
Because you can adjust that.
Of course you can. Of course you can. So you crease it, pop your die over, taking one of your cutting edges over the edge.
Okay.
Send it through, and then when it cuts it out, it leaves. Oh, where's I've lost my bit? I've got the wrong one. There we go. Where's she done with it? Oh, I know where I've turned it over. Oh, it's one of them days. One of them days. I've still got that image of Adam in my head. That's what's doing it. If anybody watched this morning, really. So it cuts that out. So there we go.
Yeah, you can see that in very
you can
clearly.
see. You can see. So what we do then is to add all the pages to it. Is you will take. Let me just get myself together. This is the one. You will then do the same again, but with a smaller tab. Now you can go even smaller again, but obviously that gives it a bit more stability. So do the same again over the edge and cut another little flap. And what you will do is you will stick that onto the back of that.
Right, okay.
And that's your page.
Yeah, and because you're using the dies, you know that's going to match perfectly.
Yeah, and then you will continue. You'll do the same again, and then you'll add that to it. And then you'll do the same again, and you'll add that to it. So you'll end up with like a little booklet. Now, what Barbara did with... no, actually, I'll show you on the second one, so I don't want to confuse you. So we'll just stick to the one, but it'll become clear when I show you the next one. So literally, that's all that one is.
So you
That's
could add
all
more
that one
pages
is.
if you wanted to.
You could add more pages, and again, I was going to go into this one, but I think I'll confuse you, so we'll just stick with the one.
Okay.
So literally, and then Barbara just put one of those across the middle, just to be pretty, really, for this one. So you can build them up and do as many as you want. And if you want to hide that, you can then just put your layer over the top, or another plain layer over the top, or
nice
paper.
Vintage.
Exactly. I mean, because it's a plain area, you can put your photos on there, you can put your pockets on there, and like we showed you before when we did the pearly pages, it's the same sort of premise. If you glued there, and across, you'd have a pocket here.
Yeah, just leave the opening at the edge.
Or you glue all this, and then you'd have a pocket there.
Of course.
So that's why it works all the way around, and a pocket there.
Yeah, no end
so
of options.
The amount, exactly as we said, the amount of options and pockets that you can put in these bases. Now, talking about pockets, a simple pocket to put, let's bring it in. This simple pocket here is just your octagon, snip a bit off, crease. That's it. Stick it onto the page.
Ah, so again, easily you can
and glue it
adapt
down.
the size of
yeah,
that.
and glue it. And then this is what you've got here.
Yeah.
So that's how simple that one is. I mean, that's not hard, is it? It's just mounting them up. Just mounting them up. That's really easy.
You can make every one very unique, actually, by
the combinations of what you can do. I mean, it would look different again if you did all these with the trellis. Instead of making it flourish, it would look totally different again when we do it as trellis.
Yeah.
And that trellis can be diamond or it can be square. Again, we can make things look so different each time we do it. Right, so let's get the pink on that one out of the way before I confuse myself completely. Let's bring what I call that the woodland one. I think that's so sweet. As you can see...
Oh, I just noticed a little deer on the front.
It's lovely, isn't it? Now, this isn't our pad. Like you, like every other crafter out there, we use other people's.
Yeah.
We source other crafts, and then we bring it into our stuff. So everybody works together. So as you can see here, we've popped a flower on, but you can see that's the tail.
Yes.
That's just been the trellisy one wrapped around the front.
It really does make it very decorative.
It does make it really different. Now, if I just open that up, now this is more like your plain areas. So this is where your journaling could come in because you could put a verse in there. There's the little pocket like I was telling you before. Just left that open there, pop that in there. There's another like a little belly band there with a tag. So it gives you plenty of space. Here we are, all open, can we see? So I've left the sides open. Now here Barbara's put one in the front. As you can see, there's a gap, but what she's done, like I showed you before, 2 lots.
Yeah.
And then just join them together. So you could have 2 really big ones and have it like an open book, if you like. So you'd look at this side first, then you look at that side. Or you can put them all together because some of these journals end up really big, don't they? I mean, they can be tied with a big fat ribbon.
Yeah.
They can make them really big.
Do you know, I think once you get going with these, Julie, you are just going to you're going to experiment.
You're just going to keep playing.
So many different ways.
Exactly. I mean, again, that one could have been left open and a pocket in there. Now, this pocket here has got a little envelope in. Now, I've made that out the octagon. If I open it up, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. That's just the octagon, look. And that's your pocket to go in there. Now, if you wanted to, cut our octagon in half, there's a page, stick your envelope in that page. So there's loads and loads for you to do with this. Let's work our way through it. There we go. As I say, this is plain here. There's no pockets on there, but we've chose to put them around the edge, which is sealing it down or gluing it down all the way and leaving one edge open. This is why we chose the octagon, because it gave you lots of straight edges to keep open and to stand up and to use as a spine. So go all the way through to the end. There's the last one, and there's the last one on the back there with its clasp all the way around. So I'll bring in the pieces separately.
Okay.
So I haven't confused you completely, because I confused myself. So if I've confused myself, you lot don't stand a chance. Right. So let's get me bits. Okay. Pretty self-explanatory.
Yep.
2 oblongs, ovals,
Octagons.
even octagons. We'll get there in the end. It has been a long day.
We know what you mean.
You knew what I meant. Take your tail, stick it between the pages. So there's one. Do the same again on the back of that one, and then over that one, and the same again, and the same again, and the same again.
That works so well.
One big one, or, as I showed you, split it into the 2. And then you would, as we showed you before, take that and wrap it round if you wanted to. You don't have to, but it's another way. And then I think Barbara's put some beads and things hanging and dangling off the sides.
Yeah, they look
so there's
really
lots of combinations of doing these journals. I mean, Barbara is going to do, like she did with the pearly pages, she's going to put little 10-minute videos on our website that you just click on, and she'll talk through them nice and slowly. And she won't call them oblongs, and she won't call them ovals either. So... But let's show you how to do these little...
this is such a clever idea.
This is such a clever idea. I mean, it just come to me in a flash. So, there we go. So, we just cut that as normal. No problem there. And then score between the point and the point.
Okay, yeah. So
and
no
fold it in.
even,
and then
the
fold it in.
There.
Yeah. And then just eyeball it about so far down.
Yeah.
And then score it again, and score it again, and score it. And then all you've got is 1, 2, 3. And that's it. Now, I haven't glued these. I didn't want to because I wanted it to open as the actual sentiment. Yeah. But you could put a little tiny Velcro dot or a couple of those little buttons with some twine.
That'd work well.
So there's lots of options you can do with those envelopes. And of course, if you make them in other colours, if you buy a gift card, you can put the gift card in that pretty one, and then you make the octagon.
In the right place to make sure it fits, and it's perfect.
Make the octagon card to go with your gift voucher. So that's that. There was a little. Here we go. Here's another little notebooky journal thing, and all that is, look, it's the loops.
Oh, you see, I love
it's literally just the loops. You could write a phrase on each page, or you could do a little passport photo on each one and then dress it up with flowers around. I mean, that is so simple. And again, that's the tag. And I'm going to show you all this when I put the bows together, but that's the little tab that goes round the bows.
Yeah.
And we've used it as just a little tiny tag.
Very well. And if you want to put a little cut on the end, you know, the swallowtail.
You can make a little, of course you can. Now these, if anybody's into sort of journaling and scrapbooking, I know they do a lot of things where they hang them, and I hold it up to camera like I did this morning. They put them on paper clips.
Yeah, what a lovely idea.
And that's just the loops folded in half. And the same again, that's the tails. I'll hold them both up so you can see.
Pretty. You really are.
So that's the loops and tails. Of course, I mean, look past what it first appeared to be.
Definitely.
So that's the journals. I just wanted to get those. Let me just pop these in here, otherwise I shall lose everything.
Right,
just wanted to get those out.
A little bit of a recap if we may, Julie, because I've got more samples I want to show as well at the back here. Let's go through those details, because we have got 2 different item numbers for the 2 different sets. You can go for these individually, but together you've got even more options. Let's have a look at the bows, the blossoms and the octagon first of all. So if you fancy making those little envelopes, oh, such a good idea. Now, we're calling these the plains, even though they're not plain, but they're a little bit plainer because I think they've got the filigree in this one. But the proper name is, obviously, the bows, the blossoms and the octagon. These are your 12 dies, £46.99, but we can split that 2 ways for you. 2 payments of £23.50. I am just going to bring the board back in again so you can appreciate what you can cut with this. You know, you can see the size of these. I mean, we've got a big board here. You can see how you can adapt these. We've heard from Julie there, those different ways of working with them as well. Just gorgeous, aren't they? Now, we have got a different item number for the next one. Let me just give you this one, 789496. Then if we move on to our butterflies, so these are the ones we're calling the fancy ones because they've got a little bit more of that sort of lattice work in there or the filigree in there. Again, you've got an awful lot for your money. Remember, putting the butterflies together, using the solid and the open butterfly together, you will create the frame as well. So it looks as though you've got an extra die in there, but you can easily recreate what we can see here on the board, you know, to make those beautiful embellishments for your books, your cards, your projects. 2 payments of £23.50 again on this one, 081471 if you're going for that particular option. Now, we can take you over to the website. Can I just show 1 or 2 more of these samples? Because, you know, it's not just about cards, it's not just about journals as well. Look how lovely this little basket is. I mean, you could put some nice pens in there, a little scarf in there, some jewellery in there. So that could be turned into a beautiful gift box. I just want to hold these up as well, Julie, because what has this been made from?
That's the loop again of the bow.
The loop from the bow. So your baubles at Christmas. Do you know what else I'm seeing here as well? I think if you were to put a little bit of greenery at the top, it could be a strawberry or a piece of melon.
I said that was a tomato this morning.
It could be tomato as well. You know, if you're hanging decorations around your garden for a tea party or something like that as well, think of the other options that you've got. Now, this one here, obviously we can see the lattice has been worked, Julie, from one of the sets there. But how about these leaves?
The loops from the bow again.
The loops from the bows. We are going to see this, I believe, so it shows you when you think out of the box what you can actually achieve there. 081471. Of course, we'll take you to the website now and then we'll get back to Julie. Everything's available on the website. Don't forget, if you want to top up on your vintage card as well, that's there. You've got sentiments, you've got those card boxes. We have, of course, got all of the dies. Some great prices. Lots of these have got discounts on them today as well. So do make sure that you get everything you want, especially if you go in for the first 2 die sets where you've got the flexi, because you can split the cost of anything else that goes in there as well. Right, back to you, Julie.
Okay, so it's as simple as anything to do these loops. They really are so simple. So you'll have your plain, and I'm going to use that one rather than the scallop. Okay. So all you will do is you cut out 1 of each and a tab. I'll put a spare there in case I dropped it on the floor, because you know what I'm like. So take it, and what I do, just to start the curve off, is I just pop it over the edge of the table. You don't have to, but it helps if you do. And that just starts that curve off. Yep. Now, I've only just plugged that hot glue gun in, so it might not be hot enough. Oh dear, let's have a go. Let's see if I can squeeze a bit out. Normally I do use wet glue at home, and I've got some here in case this doesn't work, but it's just quick. Well, it should have been quicker for TV, but it helps to plug it in. Let's see if I can get any out. Oh, we've all had this, haven't we?
I can see, that could be a bikini. You could use
it's coming.
The little strap that goes around the bow as the straps on
You
it
could
as well.
do, yeah. So literally, it's just that. It's just a spot of glue on those loops there, and just bend them over and meet them in the middle. Or if you leave a little bit more of a gap, the bow gets bigger. So you can adjust it from small to quite far out. Now, I have got a demo over there, which I'll show you later. Okay. So literally, that is it. I will pop a bit of that on there.
You can see how it really does benefit to curve that cardstock.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier when you start. So that's it. It's so simple. Now, take your tab. You could have wrapped the tab around the loop part and then stuck it to the tail. It's up to you, your choice. Yeah. But all I'll do now is just wrap that round there. Now the tab is longer than this because we're using it for other things. So all I will do is I'll take it round and I'll glue it on there. As I say, I won't trim it off like I said this morning. It's not rocket science. You just, there we go. And it's just
nice that you've got that little bit of stitching detail on there. There we go. Well.
It's lovely, isn't it? So that's it. You could actually, I think you could just about with a fine needle stitch some thread through that. So if you had some gold thread and put your gold thread through those little slots, that would look fantastic, wouldn't it? So and that's it. It's done. That was just so quick. It's just, there's really nothing to it. So that's your bow done. And then what you will do, if I bring them in now, so there's your scallopy pieces to get your plain scallopy type bow. Lovely. So that's simple enough. Yeah. And then if I put the plain one on top of the scallop one, so I've now got, this is why we made this one slightly smaller, so that you could do multicoloured ones.
That is so pretty.
But of course, with it being plain, put it through all your embossing folders.
Definitely.
So that can be an embossed bow as well. So I'll bring these in for you. Again, this is what I'm saying. We've used the two together so that you can see they're made to work together, although you can use them separately. So that's what they look like. So that one is slightly smaller, so it fits inside. Lovely. And that one is slightly smaller, so it fits inside. And then do what I just showed you. Yeah. Bend them round and make your bows like this. But of course, what you can do is you can use those flourishy and trellis pieces on their own. So you don't have to, if you didn't want to buy the plain and you just wanted to buy the more fancy one, you can still make those bows. Obviously not quite as sturdy as with your base layer, but I mean, you're hardly going to throw them up the...
Or maybe, you know, a favour on a table at a wedding or something like that.
Exactly.
They would look so pretty.
These are lovely. I mean, they are just, I mean, just on their own. It's so, so easy to do. If I bring a few samples in, just to show you how you can twist it, like, you know what we're like. 2 tails, 2 loops. Yeah. And we can either do that, or we can do that. Let's bring him in there. And this is what I said about embossing. Can it pick it up? Can you see how I've embossed that? Look how that's changed from plain to embossed. Yeah. So get all your embossing folders out with all these loops and tails. They look so different every time you do them.
Julie, can I ask a question? Yeah. So we've got the board here with various different mediums that have been cut. Or, you know, we've got felt, we've got various different papers, chiffon included there, the felt as well. Will your dies cut all of these?
Yes. Here's one. Look. There we go. See that underneath there? Yeah. That's the plain one that cuts, and that's got foil flakes on. That's your ready to go sticky sheet. And then the black on top is just a normal card. Okay. And the same with that.
I'm just thinking, you see, with the felt and the fabric that you can cut with the dies, with the bows particularly, hair accessories.
Yeah, I mean, I have got, it's in one of these bags somewhere. It will cut single layer fabric out.
Yeah, but what you could do is stiffen it with the starch.
That's what you said before. Yeah, starch or the interfacing, the iron-on interfacing. Yeah. So it will cut fabric, but only a single layer. Okay. But what I have cut one that was all embroidered, and it cut through that. So yeah, you could glue the edges together, put a bit of stuffing in, and stuff them and make them big. So yes, the ready-to-go sticky sheet, it will cut. And as if I lift that up there, look, you can see the bit that hasn't got the glitter on is still sticky. Yes, so if I hadn't put that trellis on there, I could have taken it away, put a different coloured glitter, and then had like a double glittered bow. That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
So I'll show you these now, as we said, because we might not get to it like we didn't this morning. But this is mulberry paper, so make them out of mulberry paper. So that's fabric-y, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
lots of fibres in it.
use your papers over your card. So that was my top layer, which is your second set, over the first. But there's that tab look, and I've just trimmed it. Like you said, put the little swallowtail in and make it to look like a ribbon.
Lovely.
Put your laces over your bows. So get your laces out, your little haberdashery drawers. And then here's really going to town. That's the two of them. I mean, that's the flowers and the leaves that I shall get to in a moment. But you can see the depth of these things. So they are really, really substantial to make. And if you don't have an A4 piece of card, don't worry about it. We've all got our scrap boxes. Look at the size of that. That's small enough, isn't it? Then all I did was just sent it through twice, or you could just put a little piece either end and make it fit.
Yeah.
It's only got to have a little bit of that loop,
of course,
and then cut it out. And I had enough to be able to curve it over on a base and make 2 loops.
Love it.
So, you know, you can start using all your scrap pieces up as well in your boxes. So I think I've covered the loops. So what I'll do is I'll move on to the base.
Okay.
And you're going to get, as I say, there's your fancy bits. As I say, if it's got a pattern on, it's the butterflies, and if it hasn't, it's the blossoms. Okay, so they will cut that out. And your fancies, and obviously your butterflies too. So we can use these as layers on your boxes. Now, I'll bring this one in, because I didn't get to show it this morning. Look at that.
Wow, that's a work of art. Look at
that. That isn't with our box board. This is just one that Barbara, with her brain, worked out to do even bigger. But, I mean, you put on every edge a plate and then finish off with a bow on the top. I mean, that is just... And then make the card that stands up to match with it. I mean, really, you can go to town on these things.
That's a lovely way to present a wedding gift.
And I mean, that one again, that's a...
Oh, now I like that as well. That is beautiful.
Now, I've lengthened that. Before I move on to the bases then, because we have got time, we're doing very, very well. All I did was, as I showed you before, curved them, but done it in... not so far, like just the ends over, then a bit more to the original, and then layer them up. Can you see how they've gone smaller? So you can extend the shape of these and make them longer. And all that was, there's the tail, there's the tab. So I've cut it and then extended it with the tab and then put that over the top. So you've now made an even longer bow. So you can extend and change all of these. As I say, it isn't how they first appear. I would be
making boxes like this just for decoration at Christmas that I've got away
under the tree.
In the loft and bring them back out.
You buy
I wouldn't want to give those away.
You could do these, and if you did it, put some little holes in, and then the LED lights inside.
Oh,
you could light.
Beautiful.
That's just got me another idea. Light up the boxes for Christmas. So. It's just over and over again. You'll get different ideas. You could have them in 3 different sizes, couldn't you? As well, and stand them together. Honestly, when you start playing, as we said. So we can make bases for your cards. So obviously, you couldn't make it out of one sheet of A4. Let's bring it into shot. They are too big for that. But what you would do is you score on the one, like I showed you on the journals. You'd score over and then lay one of your cutting edges over the edge, and then it cuts out. Let's get that out, all right. It then cuts out what we said before. It cuts out that tab, and then you stick it either on the inside or the outside, your choice. If you put it on the outside, you might want to cover it with one of those plates. Either or, inside or outside, it's entirely up to you, and that's what you've made. So that's one of your bases. You can then go to, let's have a look, what can I show you next? Let's have a go at the scallop. Now, with the scallop, it's not noticeable, and I have to keep highlighting it. We tweaked it a little bit, because we thought, well, if we're going to be scoring down there, if we go through those scallops, they're going to buckle. So, what we did was, and I'll put on a piece of paper, if you look when you get your die, there we are, I've highlighted it. We've got like a double scallop on one corner and then a single on all the others. It's only a little tweak, but, does it pick that up? Yeah. It's only a little tweak, but what that does is when you score, you put that little bit to the one side and you're not going through any loops, look.
No, that makes total sense.
And you've only got a tiny little hinge then. You haven't got one of these big whacking hinges. It's a tiny little hinge, and you only do it on the one.
Keeping it keeps it looking very pretty.
So you can either put that on the back or the front. It's up to you which way around you want to put your cards together. So that's why we tweaked that. Oh. Just remember that when you've got your double there, so you have to put a thing on it because they just disappear. When you use it on its own, you can't see that. So when you're using it on your cards, you won't see that it's different on one corner. But when you layer them up, if you get the find that that doesn't layer up, turn it one. Because all you've done is you've missed your scallop.
Of course.
Yeah, it sounds complicated, but it really isn't.
No, we get that.
It really isn't. So what else we can do is we can use these tails as upstands and the tabs. So we make a W out of our tab, which is simple to do, or an M, which way around you're looking up at it. And you will put it in your card there like that. Now, let's get to go. There we go. Can you see? And that stops it flopping back. So then
there's no way that's going to slide too
it's
far,
going to stand up, and I've got some samples that I'll show you in a minute. So that's another one. I've lost him from this morning. I think he's gone walkabout. But if you can imagine doing, there's a purple one that's gone walkabout. Oh, here it is. Ah, there it is, right by me. You might know. So again, cut two, but score one in half, and then do the W in the middle.
Okay,
And then that's another stand-up card. So that's another way of doing it. And you can see why we chose an octagon, because you've got your perfect base for your bottoms and for the sides. So that's just another base again.
Okay.
And as we showed you, these are quite substantial dies. So you might not want to do the layers, but there's enough space there if we want to do aperture cards and place it behind our apertures. So that's now made a trellis. And I haven't had to use a different die, it's still the same one.
So that'd look pretty with ribbon threaded through it as
Of
well.
course it would. And then obviously we can then put coloured card behind it and change it like that.
Nice.
Cut into it and paper piece, the bits back in again.
Yeah.
We can take elements out. And I mean, there's more there. I mean, we could have broke that down again and just use those little small ones. The little dropouts, there's little hearts, there's little petals, there's bigger hearts. When these drop out, you put them both back together, it makes a big heart. So you can cut into the layers and cut these up. I mean, the sample that you've got by you with the layers, with the leaves on, I've just taken the sides off and used it as just a bit of a trellis background. So just look past what you first thought it was. So it's not just layers. It's for lots of areas of your crafting. So I'll show you a few samples and then I'll get onto these leaves.
Okay.
Okay, if that's okay. So shall we bring a few in? So there we go. There's our solid mirror card. I mean, that's just stunning. And there's the little heart that drops out.
Oh,
and I've kept them all.
Sweet?
And there's the other little heart. Can you see the white on white? There we go.
Beautiful.
White on white. So keep all your little dropouts as well. That's that dropout there that I've put back in there.
The dropouts are just as important as the main.
They are. When you start, and there's one of your sentiments. Look. So when you start dropping things out, just keep them in little jars. So there's a layer on a box. Simple. And there's the flowers that go with it. Here's one of those upstands that I was telling you about. So if I get that out the way and let the camera look at that.
And that just goes to show how stable that is as well. Because you've got a lot of weight to that card.
Well, that's actually an opening card on the front.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just, we've got a lot going on the front of there, and the stability of that.
That's amazing.
So that's another one. We showed this morning, and that's those tabs now being used as ribbons. As again, you could have put the swallowtail in there, like you said. When you're building them up, use those layers as areas to put your die cuts in. Put the die cuts between the layers, build them up, put them behind, put them along the tails and extend them. Just keep playing. I say we do these colours quite bright for TV. I mean, obviously you can knock these colours back and make them more softer. Or perhaps if you like
the butterfly as well that comes in the butterfly set.
And then this is that, as we said earlier on, I don't know what you call it, but we sell it here.
Oh, is that the cream paste?
Yeah.
The Samperia one?
And it comes out and it's like rubbery. You can actually use it. So if you've got anything like that, or your laces, absolutely marvellous. So that's the, I think I've covered the bows and the bases. I can move on to the leaves. Is there anything you need to chat about?
We'll just have a quick recap before we get back to you, Julie, and then, because we are getting busier and busier actually. Now, I think the penny's really dropping. If you've not seen these before, you're starting to appreciate what you can achieve with these. 60% of the stock on the bows, blossoms and octagon is now gone. So you can see everything that you get in there, those big dies. There are actually 12 dies in that one set. 789496. I love the idea of that box. Just got to come back to that box idea, actually. We said about putting lights in for Christmas. But again, going to weddings, table decorations with the lights in there. Just stunning, because you can create those different sizes. What a lovely set to have there. Then, of course, our next set is the one with the butterflies in there. So, oh, this has been busy. 3/4 of the stock has gone. These are standalone products, but if you've got both sets, of course, you're going to achieve even more. So if you are going to take advantage of the Flexi, and that's available on both of these sets, remember the item numbers are different, 081471 for the butterflies, that's what we're looking at the moment. But if you are splitting the cost and you're going for both of them, details have just come on the screen again at the bottom there for the first set, you are only paying the same amount if you're splitting it 2 ways today as if you would paying full price on one. Obviously, you've got still another instalment next month, but it really does split the cost. Then you could maybe pop in some of your boxes, maybe some of your card stock as well, some of the other elements that we've got on the show as well, and split the cost there as well. Right, just a reminder of the dispatch date, 30th of April. We will have a little trip down the counter. 30th of April is next Friday. Where has this month gone? Where is this year going? Yeah, that's what I want to know. Right, the boxes, I've just mentioned them. You've got 10 here. You also get the tags included. If you like the idea of the journals as well, you could go for the boxes. You could put your journals that you've made into the boxes. Use the tags in your journals, perhaps. Just going to show you one of the boxes again. They do have the finger lift area there, so you don't have to worry about cutting that out separately or struggling with the lids. The lids are already pre-cut for you, so that you don't have to worry about changing the size of them. You could, if you want, alter the depth of the box. There's definitely room to do that, and you can see in this one the depth of the card that we've got in there. In fact, I'm going to lift that right out so you can really see what we've got there. Look at the box base. Pop that in there, but you've still got plenty of room to put the lid on there and to really present that in such a beautiful way. $12.99 if you want to go for the boxes with those tags, 660076. Then, of course, we've got the sticky sheets for you. I'm just going to bring in those samples again to show you. Of course, you can use the sticky sheets on your cardstock. You can add your glitters. You can then die cut through this. So if I bring this one in, flip this one around just so I can put those two together so you can really appreciate the detail that's being cut through there. Then, of course, with your foiling as well, you can also cover that with your gilding flakes. As Julie said earlier, just go for small areas. You don't have to do a whole sheet. You can just cover as much as you want and then cut it out as you go. So great for your glitters and all sorts of goodies there. 623819 is the item number. You're getting 7 A4 sheets. Then the sentiments, we've got those available. Again, great for your journaling as well as your cards and your home decor. These are already kiss cut for you, but they will work in conjunction with some of the dies you may already have collected from Scarlet Rose as well, as you can see on this particular sample. 903062 is the item number, only $14.99. You're getting 80 toppers in total then. They're 400 GSM as well. Then, of course, we do have the most beautiful card back for you. This is the vintage. You do also get the insert plate as well. That is included. You can see how that's been used on one of the samples, but I'm just going to flick through a few more of the pages here. I did so many the first time down, but we didn't show them all, and we're probably not going to show them all now, but you know, these are just beautiful, aren't they? 20 double-sided sheets. These are gorgeous. If you want to cut them down, make them into ready-to-go cards. If you want to chop them up, you know, fussy cut around elements, you can. These are absolutely perfect for those journals. The way we've seen Julie create those journals or show us the demonstrations that Barbara's created those journals with. Oh, I love that page. So pretty. I would say double up on those. I think once you've got one, you'll want more than one. £24.99, a £5 saving, 226,723. Right, before the end of the hour, we've got time to revisit Julie as well. So, Julie, can we see some more, please?
You can indeed. So, as we said, the bows can become leaves, and leaves are quite popular at the moment, stylised leaves. So, I thought, OK, let's take one of our loops. I'll cut it in half. I'll pop it onto my scoreboard. And what I'll do, I'll get my embossing tool, just the thin one, and I'll score every other hole.
OK, yeah.
Then I'll flip it over and I'll go in between And what that does, if you're doing the small, it helps because your curves are going in and over and
That's
in and out.
a really
It's
good
just,
tip, actually.
it's just
Yeah.
easier on the small one to start to concertina it in. But I started to concertina it in, and then I saw a fish. And Adam this morning said he saw a vase, and I
Yeah.
thought, you know what? He's absolutely right.
Yeah, look at that.
So those are the flowers, and hopefully I'm going to get time to show you those. But these are the flowers and the leaves that are part of the blossom set. But you continue to do what I've just showed you, backwards and forwards till you get to the end. So you end up with that. I would cut a little piece of card, just score it in half like this, and just go very close to that scoring edge, like that.
Yeah.
And what I've done is I've just made myself a little, either a leaf or a little stem.
Oh, that would look nice, curled a little bit as well.
Exactly.
Wouldn't it, to give dimension?
And then I'll just pop it in one of those grooves, run some glue, and then just pinch the bottom together.
And it's as simple as that.
And then when it's dry, it's that. And then I'll choose what I want to cut off. So if I put them side by side, you can see I decided to cut that one off and that one off, and then just glue the last little bit together. So you can adjust the fan of that. I mean, if you wanted to, you could snip in, snip in, snip in, snip in, and change the shape of that if you didn't want to cut them off. Entirely up to you. Or you could leave them and just bend them and then make it more sort of like that
Again, lots of
on your
different
card.
options there.
So you can play around with these. So that was that one. And then if I bring that one in the middle there like that, you can see the different ones. I thought, right, I can change that as well.
That looks a little bit like a shell there as well.
You're right, yeah. So on your seaside cards, no, I
Yeah.
hadn't seen that. Do them in seaside colours and put some
Yeah,
pearls around it. You've got
definitely.
mermaid cards. Oh my goodness, here we go again. Talking about mermaids, well, I'll bring that in while we're on that subject. If you do the same with what I've just showed you, but with the tail, there is a fin.
Yeah.
So, wonderful. So this is just the every other one, so that the grooves are wider. And then all I've done then is, after I've scored it and after I've folded it to give me somewhere to go from and to, just cut, there we go, and just cut down from the crease to the valley, from the crease to the valley. And like I showed you before, bring it back in and pinch and glue, put your little stem in like I showed you before, and then you'll decide where you want to cut off, and then you can end up with that. But then, of course, you could do 2 or 3 together.
You know, again, Julie, I just think these are lovely, you know, for decorating your packaging, your gift bags. Because again, because you've scored and folded there, they're so strong.
So strong.
Substantial.
And there's one with the in-between, like the even smaller one. So again, look, you can make, so that goes from that to that, depending on how many you put in. So you can literally play with these. I mean, this is the scallop loop.
Yeah.
So that looks, there we go. So that looks different again. I even looked at those and I thought, if you start pulling them out, you could make fans
Definitely.
out of that on your oriental cards.
Yeah, that would look really
Or
nice.
a kite. If you put the little bows across there,
Yeah.
it could be like an oriental kite. Again, this one here, if you do the big scallops, no, the big grooves, sorry, you can start playing around. We could do 2 together there. Now, what I showed you before when I snipped that, if you do it wider, you can end up with like your leaves with already the score in them. Okay. So start adding them together. So that's it on its own. Let's bring it back in. So I've now made a 3. But 2 together, if I put it like that, you might just make it out. It's a heart.
Oh, yes.
Or we could do a load and make them into a stylised fan.
Yeah, you could.
So we've looked past what they first were. Loops have turned into leaves, have turned into fans, have turned into shells. That's a good one. I'm going to do a sample of that.
Skirt as well, if you have it the other way up.
Well, as we said, these little things here could be made. Let's do 2 and pinch it together. We could make that as, that is a bow on top of a present.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't look very good because it's not glued, but you get the gist.
Yeah,
You've
just
got
put
2 of
something in the
those.
centre there.
They
Yeah,
could go on the front of
beautiful.
an envelope. They could go on your journals. So that could be a different one. Instead of putting that bow on the front, we could do a concertinaed bow and put a concertinaed bow on the front, or a concertina bow on top of our bow.
Of course, you've got
So
many options yet
once you
again.
start thinking, well, what else can I do with that? Well, the other one was these, I'll hold it up so you can see mine that way. So we've got another little dangle one there. I mean, I've done these quite basic, but you imagine these lovely big tassels. If you've got a tassel maker, tassel off the bottom, made all in glitter card. That'd be wonderful. Little table settings for Christmas, just something fun. It's, you know, I just looked at that and I thought, oh yeah, that looks a little bit like a Christmas tree.
Sweet.
I know it's the C word, but you know, it will be coming round again. Christmas, it's May already.
I'm planning. I've got my planning head on for Christmas.
And literally all that is, if we know about making star cards, but if we don't, just cut the loops out, cut them in half, score, and then just start to glue edge to edge like that.
Very easy.
And then edge to edge like that, work your way round. Or, as we said this morning, just do 3. Stick that on the front of a card or inside a card that opens.
Yeah, you could alternate colours as well.
You could make a rainbow bauble, all sorts that we can do with that. And finally, for this, and I think we've done quite well today, wraparounds.
Oh, your belly bands, yes,
And
they work
all
really
that,
well for those.
literally, they just, and I eyeball it, I don't even bother. I just pop it on the front and I bend it round and I do the same on the other side. And there's your tab again. Put your tab on the back in between those two. And there you've got your belly bands. But of course, if you've bought the sentiments, I took, now this was out of our Pearly Pages, there is a smaller oval. I did actually cut the middle out and put a corner on it.
Oh, that's lovely. It's so
delicate. You can just use those sentiments, because when you pop that sentiment out, it's bled over the kiss cut.
Yeah.
So if you do cut, you can cut that out and then obviously cover it with a corner or a flower. So you've got the sentiment that pops out and you've got the sentiment edging to use again.
Do you know that again, they work beautifully
You're
in
good.
your little pockets in your journals.
And how long have I got?
We have got 6 minutes.
Oh,
We've got
plenty.
ages,
I've
Julie.
never had so much. What happened this morning? It's Adam that he's telling me about being in the bath. It sort of threw me off this morning.
We'll just give a quick recap of the
Yes,
main dies again, if that's all right, Julie, just while we're here as well, because we're very busy on these. So let's have a look again at both options. So you've got the blossoms first of all. 3/4 of the stock has gone. You've got so many dies here to work with. You are honestly, you're going to be playing with these. Really, you're just going to sit for days, I think, just practicing and playing with different ideas, and you will find further ideas than the amount we've given you today as well, because we've given you so many ideas and inspiration there. Item number 789496. We have got Flexi on there if you want to split the cost. And then, of course, the other set, same thing. It's the same price, different item number. Again, we've got Flexi. 85% of the stock has gone of this one. Absolutely beautiful. You will be finding ways again of cutting into that lattice work. The trellis, have it as square, have it as a diamond shape if you want, just by turning it around. Use these as stencils. You know, again, so many ways of working with them. 081471 is the item number. If you do go for Flexi, you could go for both of those today. If you haven't got any of these already, go for both of them today and just pay the £46.99 today and spread the cost. You could pay the same again in a month, but you've got everything all in one go. Right, Julie, we're coming back to you because we've got about 4 minutes left.
Right. Well, I'll quickly show you the leaves and flowers, and then I've showed you everything, haven't I? And so as we said, they're quite chunky, and we wanted them that way so that, like, if you wanted to, you can split them up, cut the stems, and now you've got 2 for the price of 1.
Oh, nice.
These are quite chunky because you can get a really good bend on those. You can mount them up and make really deep flowers. They're also chunky enough to put through your embossing folders, so we can emboss the leaves and the flowers, because we said, like, the filigree ones are beautiful, but you can't emboss them because they get chewed up in your embossing folder. So we wanted to make that chunky. I'll bring that to overhead because it's quicker. So we did like a little wreath, and that really shows it up. That's where I extended these and made them bigger.
Oh, that's pretty.
So that's the wreath, and there's, again, I've split it and done it that way and that way with your chunky flowers on, so that's really good. And your butterflies, very finely butterflies. Oh, so I'm trying to show you the sticky sheets. Your wire can cut your aperture out, then send them through together like we explained, and it will give you your frame and your butterfly. Keep your butterfly for another project, and then put your frame over that hole.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it?
So that will highlight
a little shaker card with butterflies.
You could, yeah. So that's what you get, and then the wire on its own gives you the solid, and it gives you the fancy, and then you can put them together. So that was a quick run through of the flowers, but you've seen on all my samples, you know, how everything goes together. So in our final few minutes, this ready to go sticky sheet.
We've got 3 minutes, Julie.
Oh, plenty time. I'll chuck it on and show you first. It's as simple as you can see. There's one of the loops, okay? take your carrier sheet off and decide what you're going to put on there. For quickness, I'm going to put glitter. She says, what have I done with my glitter? There we go. Note it's in a bag, otherwise it'll be, you know,
Oh,
I'm like it'll
nice
be everywhere.
glitter.
But literally, chunky or plain, just straight over the top. That's all you do. And it's done. That's it, it's done. It's now adhered. Brush your excess off. That's it, and it's done.
And
that
again, you're
is
only
it.
covering the sheet that you want covered instead of doing a whole sheet and then wasting bits of it.
Exactly, and then we've got our loops. But that could be any of your die cuts. You can either do a whole sheet of glitter with chucking all your pots on and die cut your bits out, or die cut the bit that you want, take the carrier sheet off after you've die cut it. Don't take the because it'll stick inside. Die cut it first, carrier sheet off, and then throw your glitter on or your foils on. But there's so much that you can put on here. I mean, your posh wrapping papers. Stick it to the... So you can now make a card or a tag that matches your wrapping paper.
You've got scraps of wallpaper spare.
Wallpaper. We all borrow these, don't we, from the DIY shops. Well, now there's some of these beautiful things, especially into mixed media and all your die cutting. Make card out of it now. So it's gone from paper to a card. Fabrics, stick your fabric on. Make a fabric covered card from that. Lou gave me this. So this is your sort of mulberry type fibre paper, floppy paper. But now you can make it into that. Your vellums, because no matter what you do, you can see vellum cut. So you could cut a frame out of the sticky sheet, sponge the front, and then stick the vellum to the back. There's no sign.
Any glue at all.
And then again, if you've done a beautiful artwork in, like with all your vellum work, you can stick it onto that card. And if you've coloured it and it's the white work, it'll show through, and you've made a solid card out of it.
We're in the last minute now,
Or the last second then. All your dropouts from what you've just bought. Sticky sheet, put all your dropouts on.
Yeah.
Tip your glitter on, and there you go.
Perfect.
Ta-da!
Amazing.
I think we've done it. I think we managed it, Catherine.
Oh, wow. What a busy hour. We fitted so much in there, didn't we? I'm so pleased we got to see everything, Julie, there. Julie, have you any idea when you're back again?
It's the last Sunday of the month, so whatever that is next month.
Okay.
The last Sunday in May.
Oh, it's not that far away. The wait time is speeding past. Put it in your diary, find out the last Sunday of May and note it in your diary, and we'll see Julie back here. I believe it's the 30th, we're just hearing that.
There we go.
So, check those baskets out. This is the second and final hour for Scarlet Rose today. You are leaving this hour with so many ideas, so much inspiration as well. Thank you again, Julie. Absolute delight. Please stay with us, though. We've got lots more ahead. See you soon.